So that was wonderful, Mauricio. Oh my goodness. I loved reading it the first time and then reading it again. It was just absolutely excellent. I would like to introduce everybody. Can we have any cameras? Miriam, are you okay? Rhonda, welcome back. Rhonda had a wonderful trip to Niagara Falls. And I want to introduce everyone to Paula. Paula is the lady I was telling you about. Remember, I told you that her son shot
Oh, that's
me.
Paula.
Yeah, this is Paula, and I invited her to come on with us today. Paula, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you how you doing, who you are, how.
Hi, everyone. As
Hi.
Peggy said, hello, Peggy. Thank you for having me. Lovely service. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I love the message. I mean, I took a couple notes. I wrote something down that I need to remember. It was really good.
I'll send everybody in writing so you have all the references as well.
Really good. It's especially the number
Are you
9
in
to
San
remember.
Francisco?
Hmm.
Baruch, hold on a second. She's speaking.
Yes. What did you want me to say, Peggy?
Well, usually we spend this time talking about the message, what we've gleaned from it.
Yeah. Um,
It's okay.
I love the part where I wrote something down where it says that I can't remember if it was number 7, number 8, where you say that we must remember, we must remember our past. We need to remember where we're coming from because we can't go forward if we don't know our past and where we're coming from. And again, we're bound to repeat it if we don't know it, right? And I think that I like what you say, what the message said that it is not Torah and it's not the word of the Almighty for us to forget. Yes, we need to forgive, but we can't forget what happened so that we don't repeat it again. And I
Exactly.
think it's really good. I write that down because it's so often we do forget and it's important to remember.
Yes, or we hold on to things that we really don't need to hold on to
Right.
That's
because
right.
God is a God of healing. He gets us past. Was talking to Miriam this morning about how they did an experiment with the mice, and those who were not licked when they were children really suffer. They can suffer from depression. They can suffer as when they're old mice. And we as humans, if we don't get licked enough, but let me tell you, I did not get licked by my mother. My mother was not a licker. My mother loved to work and she didn't want children.
Right,
We
right.
always understood we were in the way.
Yes, yes.
But after going through a time of very long, hard searching to find who I am and find coming back to God, He heals us. He restores the years that the locust has eaten.
Yes, indeed.
And now when I look back at her, I see that she was just a person who struggled maybe with things that her mother put her through. And I just love her because we need to honor our parents no matter what.
Indeed, indeed.
And this whole thing about Amalek,
Yes.
the spirit of Amalek is a spirit of free hatred, hatred without a cause. And we see that is alive and well in the world today. This, when you mentioned about Afghanistan, how the Taliban, to tell you the truth, when I heard what they were doing, my heart broke for the people who are there, the Christians who are living in Afghanistan, for the women who fought so hard for their freedom and now are going to come under that oppressive regime again. And it's part, I think, of the process that the world is going through it now, because the world, as we said before, is shaking its fist at the Creator. Everything that the Torah, that the Bible teaches us, the world is saying is wrong. And we're not even allowed to talk about it. So the world is going to go through some very hard times, some plagues. But we have to remember that He protects us. He loves His own. He watches over us.
I'm sure that.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I love the message. It was wonderful. And I was thinking there's so many things to it, but one of that is that we are to remember that God is eternal. So his past and present, it's all now. It's the eternal now. So that past carries now. He's now and forevermore. So that's the past we are to remember. But when we dwell, as I tend to, on the pain of the past, certain past things that do carry their consequences now, we have to, those are the things we have to put in perspective, see it, and then move on to the eternal past, which is God's presence in our life. That's something I'm really struggling with and have to learn. And also about free hatred, which is a terrible thing. But the worst thing, which we may not all recognize, is the hatred of our own self. And we may constantly look outward and say, well, you can't hate others. But sometimes it's very subtle, and I know it very well, how we could hate ourselves. And that is something that even if we've done terrible things, there's things that I have done that I still carry guilt for, and I have to let that go. And hating yourself is a terrible thing. You know, we were beautifully and wonderfully made, and that's a type of hatred that a lot of us don't realize we have to a greater or lesser extent. So the message was really wonderful. Thank you, Mauricio.
Yes.
I find it amazing how, Marisa, you're able to see the big picture. So to me, it seems clear how I'll get, you know, when I'm reading it, I'm going section by section and I'm trying to kind of dissect and figure out why the heck this is here and why that's there and why there's this order, because, you know, I've been trained with the Greek thinking where it's everything is lineal and in succession, and there's a beginning and an end, etc. Whereas the Hebraic, it's circular. It's like these loops that keep going, and it's like eventually you might get back to the point of the first question, for example. But when I was reading, I was like, I wonder how he's going to tie this all together. And as soon as he started speaking, I was like, oh yeah, totally. That's exactly what the point of this passage is. And I really appreciate that, because it helps me, I guess, zoom out a little and not see it just word next to word next to word, which is how I was taught to study. Anyway, thank you.
Yeah.
That's what the rabbi was also always teaching us, is that if you look at a mosaic, you have to stand back in order to see the full picture. If you get too close, you get lost in the details and you can't see anything.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that, like, there's lots of specific things in this passage that are related. The principles are related, where justice is supreme, like where being, for example, like when you do have to kill someone for their sins, you don't mutilate the body, you don't degrade the body afterwards, you don't leave it hanging overnight so the birds and animals can come get it.
Right.
You know, like as soon as because the death was the payment for the crime. As soon as the death is over, you treat the body with respect, because then otherwise you defile, like it's an abomination to God if you don't treat it with respect.
Yeah.
And this stuff about, you know, burying your waste, your human waste, and then having it outside the camp, because the Lord will come in and see that and not be among your midst. It'd be among you then. And it's like any third world country that I've seen or my wife has been to, it just runs down the streets and there's so much disease. And it's like, there's logic for these things that protect us that God has laid out in the Torah, that if you just read it and be like, oh, okay, we all benefit, right? And the remembering is the main point that you made, not forgetting what has been said and what has been done in the past. So we get to be humbled and reminded that that's the situation when we do get focused on the details and zoom in. So, for example, when Peggy was talking about, the stuff in Afghanistan and all the horrible things that have been happening these last couple years. Now, if you zoom in and get focused on all the little things, it's too overwhelming. You don't know where to go. You don't know what to think. You don't know what to say. You don't know where to place your security, etc. But if you can zoom out and be like, okay, this is just history repeating itself in a slightly different way. Okay, so what happened last time? Who's in control? And who's ultimately in control? And what is my role in that? So my role is to lead my family well, follow Torah, take care of my neighbors, watch out for people, help where I can. And it's like, God will find me doing those things. I'm okay. I don't need to worry about all the specific details and all the stupidity that's happening around us that can make my brain just fry, and I don't know where to go with it all. So that's where my mind goes, because I can spiral out of control, and so can Holly. Like she gets she's worse than me that way. The specific things frazzle her. So it's good to be reminded. So thank you.
The most important thing is, where is our focus? Are we going to focus on the mire, the misery that the world is going to go through? Or are we going to focus on God and his plan and his protection, and knowing that he is with us no matter what? And he will be with us through everything. We have to change our focus. And that's a full-time job. Living the commandments is like what you said, Mauricio. It's not just knowing them. We have to believe them, and we have to implement them, and we have to work every day. And our days is filled with choices. And there's times we're going to fail, and there's times we're going to fall, and we have to. That's why he put us in community, so that we're not alone. So that one is falling, we'll have, like Moses, whose arms were held up by Hur and Joshua. He had two men holding him up. And we have each other to hold us up when things are. That was the beautiful thing, that what happened with Paula. Remember, I told you, Paula was home praying, crying out to God. Well, how is my son? I haven't heard from him in a week. Please, God, I need a sign. I need to know that he's okay. And on the other side, God is showing Sheldon that there's a phone number in the prison system that it leads to me. And he calls me, and I'm exhausted. I didn't even want to answer the phone, but I did. And here's this guy that I don't know, and he's telling me, just please call my mother. And I called Paula, and in that moment, she was praying that she would hear that her son was well, and I was calling to tell her that her son was okay. I mean, that is how God works. So as soon as we get frightened, saying, how are we going to get through this? What's the next step? I'm not going to worry that the world will be blown up tomorrow. I'm not going to worry that I may get COVID, or I'm not going to worry that I may not be able to go out to a restaurant, even though in the moment I'm worried about it. What's going to happen? I have to change my focus. I have to look at God again, start singing, doing whatever it takes to remember that he is in control. There's a couple of songs that I found that was really, really encouraging for me, and I'd like to share them with you today. And then Mauricio, if you want to speak a little bit more, but I just want to find them. Hold on a second. This one here, it's called Messiah, Come Back to Your Land. We're in the times that is called Nachamu, the times before the high holidays. And these days there are extra trials that come up before the high holidays. It's like the spiritual world is churning. And this is a beautiful song for us to remember that God is always with us. You will have compassion on us and forgive all our iniquity. You will cast all of our sin into the depths of the sea. You will have compassion on us and forgive all our iniquity. You will cast all of our sin into the sea. Your love is unchanging to Abraham. Your covenant evermore shall stand. Your truth shall reign sovereign in Israel. Messiah, come back to your land. Messiah, come back to your land. Yashuv yerachamenu, yichbosh avonteinu, v'tashlich b'msulot yam. Yashuv yerachamenu, yichbosh avonotenu, v'tashlich b'msulot yam kol chatotam. תיתן אמת ליעקב, חסד לאברהם, אשר נשבעת לאבותינו ממקדם, ממקדם. Your love is unchanging to Abraham. Your covenant evermore shall stand. Your truth shall reign sovereign in Israel. Messiah, come back to your land. Messiah, come back to your land.
Hey Peggy,
Yes.
your sound coming over is quite distorted. I think it's a little too hot.
Okay.
I don't know if you can either talk quieter or move the microphone back, or if you can
Now,
just.
what I'll do is I'll lower it because Brian said it wasn't loud enough, so
Oh, okay.
I raised it.
Like if you'd lowered it maybe 10%,
How is it?
much better. Then I can turn mine up and it's not
Thank you.
much better. Yeah. Sure, go ahead.
Oh, this is the wrong one. That's funny. I had a different song. Anyway, we'll do this another time. Okay, Mauricio.
Hey, Shabbat Shalom to all.
Shalom.
Thank you for your prayers. Is the first thing I want to thank all of you. Thank you for your messages. You know, while I was returning because I had to get out from home today. While I was driving, I was thinking about all that. I wouldn't like to use these words, but I don't find out any other better. The trials we go to see how or what is inside of us. Okay, so and to be a living Torah doesn't imply we are not humans. We feel you know, we are frightened sometimes. We feel disappointed. We feel sadness. We are humans. And with this situation with my kids, my wife, honestly, I remember on Wednesday, before I start to write this message, it just came to my mind. I had to remember how good is God for me. I have to remember that no matter what happens today or in these days, God is good. He controls everything. So, and it came to my mind, okay, I'm gonna do my best for this Shabbat. And yesterday, I worked very hard because at the office, people were on vacation. So I took the responsibilities. And today I said, okay, today I don't want to be called by anybody. It's Shabbat for me. It was a blessing, okay? But it is sad to see how the world today forget the commandments of the Lord. Because while I was driving, I just said, it seems to me, and I felt a little bit sad and disappointed, honestly, because I made my best to be at the service, and I cannot be there. And you know, it's something like when you promise to someone, okay, we're gonna go to this restaurant when you are a kid, and sometimes people says, but today we won't, so you feel really disappointed. Okay, now the point here is, I was thinking about how difficult it is to live the Torah in a world that really don't understand and don't care about our beliefs, and honestly, they don't care about God. They live their lives every day just breathing like animals. I'm sorry to say that, but you know, it's just a survivor time.
An instinct of the survival.
Yeah, just the instinct, nothing else. There is no purpose, there is no family, there is no God. So and I feel a little bit sad, honestly, but it came to my mind, and I remember, honestly, what is written in Tehillim, and I would like to share this. I don't know if you can put the screen, Peggy.
Yes, for where? In
Uh,
Tehillim, which one?
Tehillim 73, 25 to 26.
Sorry, Tehillim 23?
23, no, 73, 73,
Oh, 73.
73.
Okay, hold on. Sorry.
Yeah. Verses 25 and 26.
73. Okay, let me share the screen.
Okay, there you are. Okay. And it's a question from the person who wrote this psalm, and it came this question to me, honestly. For whom do I have in heaven, and I desire no one with you on earth? My flesh and my heart yearn. That is the rock of my heart and my portion forever. So while I was remembering this psalm that came to my mind, I just said, honestly, sometimes we feel like we are alone. Okay. And sometimes you can feel that, you know, you are not really alone because there are persons around you, but sometimes you feel alone because nobody comprehends exactly our way of living.
Remember
Okay?
Elijah when he was in the cave and he said, God, I'm alone, there's nobody. And he says, don't worry, I've preserved 7,000.
Yes.
Yes.
So And today I was hearing a message Rabbi Shemi sent a couple days ago. And he was speaking about, if you take this path, you need to know that it's not easy. And you know, but things that are not easy, many things are the right ones. So and I was thinking about that. So it was like a consolation for me. And it's true. It's different. Our brain, how we think, okay, today is completely different to the world. This in this passage, we can learn a lot of things, honestly. For example, what Matthew was talking about is about that first, the person already is dead, okay? Then you hang up this person, but you respect the body, and you don't leave the body alone at night. So
The Romans did that. The
yes.
Romans did that, yeah.
And also it's not hung out like this, okay, in your neck,
Right.
like the Western world, okay, or crucifixion. No, it's just that that is something like to say, okay, here are the consequences, okay, of breaking the rules. So and only where, according to the sages, only the persons who curse God were exposed such to be hanged. Okay, it seems that for example, at that time, for example, if you are adulterous, okay, you were stoned. Okay, and if at that moment you say, but I don't care, and you start to curse God, you are like exposing God before other persons. So your punishment for doing that after you are dead is that you will be exposed. Okay, that is the idea. So it is really about to make the right things. And so and you know, in this portion especially, is something for the theological part of the Christianity, that they take, oh, Jesus is made a curse for me,
Right.
okay, and it is not, okay. First, because he was not stoned. Okay. Second, it was not the crucifixion was not a Jewish punishment. And third, he was not hung out by the Jewish persons. He was hung out by the Romans. So there is no a link, an association between what happened to Yeshua and to is not related to this portion. So and also it talks about the rebellious son. Okay, this son must be after the bar mitzvah, approximately 3 months later. But it's interesting something that you, when you read it, probably you don't find, oh, this is a boy, okay, who drinks, is a drunkard, and is a glutton. So, but and is a rebellious boy. What is happening here? in the Gospels, you can read it, that Yeshua said, okay, they make a criticism to Yochanan because he fast and don't drink wine, and then I drink and I eat, and they call me that I am a glutton and a rebellious man. So it's referring to this portion. Okay, he knew what what does he was exposing the lashon hara. Okay,
Wow.
so and sometimes we need to, sometimes I would like to say this. I learned from Yeshua to tell the truth without injuring people. Okay, because he was making a criticism to the Perushim and telling them, I am not. You are wrong. But he was very polite, I would like to say. But he was telling the truth. So he was exposing their lashon hara, and he was exposing the injustice. Okay, and then also according to a rebellious man, it says that both father and mother goes to the judges. Okay, so it's interesting because if just a mother or just a father, it applies this part. You can read it just reading, but if you stop and start to think, you find out how important is the family. So, for example, in this case, a lone father or a lone mother cannot bring his children to say, my kid is rebellious.
Is it also because of the testimony of two witnesses?
Yes. So, and also it calls you to be one like marriage, okay? Because both parents have to be agreed,
right,
to take the kid to as a rebellious man. According to Isaiah, never existed, okay, in Israel. We don't know exactly because in the past there is no approval about this, but but it was like a warning, okay?
right.
Okay, and also there is a lot of rules inside, okay, which is about holiness, okay? Holiness means not to mix, okay? Not for example, the linen and the
Wool.
wool, yeah, wool, yeah, or put to the ox in
The
I
donkey.
can remember the donkey, yeah. So and all these are example about not to mix, okay? Because if you read at the beginning of this portion, is trying to the man not to mix, okay? At the beginning, it start to talk this portion about the war, and at the war, you can see a woman, okay? And interestingly enough, the woman is with some garments, okay? In the past, the woman used to put a garment to distract the soldiers and to be attacked by the enemies. So they were like it's like if you go to fight to some place and you find out a very nice girl before you, and you say, I will not shoot to her. I will not destruct because it's something to enter to your mind. Okay, for that reason, this man saw the woman and start to probably the Torah tells this man, okay, who has probably a luxurious problem, okay, do not rape her, do not act like the other words, okay. So it's a calling to be a different nation. Even in that situations, you will have your own rules. You don't follow by your own rules. At the second word, in today's words, we can see that in the Middle East also, the first thing the soldiers that enter and conquer a city is to rape women. Right now we are looking at Afghanistan. They are killing all the women, okay, because okay, you say the woman needs to be educated. Okay, I'm gonna kill you. Okay, this is the mentality. So the Torah teaches us not to mix, not to act like them. We are different. So for that reason, tell us, okay, by your side, your inclination, just take care of you, and you have a sexual impulse. So stop, okay, control yourself. And then if you refer the next verses, start to talk about the loved one, the beloved wife. Who was the beloved one? Probably the woman that I bring from war. Okay. So for that reason, tells you, do not forget your first wife.
Right.
Okay. So you start to see everything is related. It's talking just to be a holy nation, to be different, to act different. For that reason, there is a lot of rules. Even if you make a loan, if you make, if you give measures, you have to be right with your measures. It's just to be honest, just to be different. Okay. So this is a calling from us. How we deal the situation of our life, like everybody else, or we do according to the Torah, to what is teach to us, to be our behavior, to be different, to be light. So and that's, you know, the main, for me, is the main subject of this portion.
Yeah, because you said to act justice and merciful. It's like I was looking at that verse that says, do not muzzle an ox while it's treading grain. And then I looked up to see how it's been interpreted. And basically, it's to have compassion for the animal, because the animal would stop to eat while, you know, in between working. And if you had a muzzle, it could not eat the grass. So have compassion on the animal while it's working. Have compassion for your worker who works for you.
Yes, and we need that today. We need to act, no matter if the rest of the world don't care or don't follow the Torah.
Exactly.
We need to be different. We need to act different. For example, if we lose our capacity to think, it is something against us. Okay. And when we are under pressure, how we act. Okay, that's the practical thing.
Right.
I shout to everybody. I start to cry. I start to, I don't know, to make you know, things that are not and, and just, you know, for one bad decisions, you can complete ruin your life.
The Alvarados are leaving. We just want to say goodbye. Thank you, Andres. Thank you.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Sorry, thank you so much.
That's okay. No problem. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Shabbat shalom.
Yeah, we have to treat each other properly. We have to treat each other well. Es solamente Alvarados que
I was thinking about that passage where, you know, the gluttonous son, etc., disobedient son is stoned.
yes.
And that always horrified me. Even years ago, I remember, and people pointed out to me how a merciful God can say things like that. But I was thinking about, in the grand scheme of things, what that means really. First of all, it may have not have happened, or maybe once every, who knows. But when somebody does something like that and rebels against the creator of the universe in such a profound way, it's like that person has already died, because the only thing that really lives in us eternally is God. So in a way, it seems worse to us, but that person has already died. And it just changes the way we look at it. It's not really death the way we think of death. And anyway, it just made me see it in a bigger scheme already, that person has already died.
Right. We don't
Yes.
we don't understand the really what the soul really is, and
Yeah.
how God sees it. Like, I've had to change, you know, the Christianity has brought the concept of heaven and hell that we don't have in Judaism. And you know, they use it to threaten, they use the fear of burning in hell to threaten us to behave a certain way toward the church. But how does Judaism see that, Mauricio, from your perspective, heaven and hell?
Okay. First, we need to understand that our soul doesn't have a sense. For example, the sight, it cannot feel like the body, okay, because it's not physical, it's not part of the physical world, okay, it's ethereal. So from that, okay, if you have any problem with that, you will burn, okay, even a soul in a flame will not feel the burning, okay,
Right.
because
It's
it's
ethereal.
ethereal. Okay, that's the first thing. Okay, second, the Torah talks about this life. Okay, so there are interpretations in Judaism about what is afterlife. Okay, and there is positions like resurrection. There is a positions about reincarnation, and there are positions about that when you are dead is everything done. Okay. For example, the Karaites believes that when you go to to the Sheol, that means to the tomb, it is finished. Okay. There are another Orthodox, for example, or Reformism that believes in reincarnation. Okay, and according to them, your soul, when cannot get the Yehidah, the union with God, your soul returns to this physical body. And so for them, is the interpretation is come back to the earth, and not to be with God is your hell. Okay, it could be. Besides, hell is a Greek concept. It's not in Judaism. There is a concept that is Gehinnom. Okay, and Gehinnom is the place where all the trash of Jerusalem went. Okay, it's like today all the cities have a treatment plant for the trash. Okay, and in that place everything is born. Okay. So it was the same for Jerusalem, the Gehinnom, which is a valley. And when the fire start to burn up, you can see all the sounds that these flames made. Okay. For example, if you have a horse and you throw to this Gehinnom, start to, with the teeth, all the bones start to consume and make this like chilling. Okay. So it is not a Greek concept. It's a Greek concept, the hell. But when it refers, for example, in Isaiah, it says that calls the valley of Gehinnom. Okay. And also Yeshua refers to Gehinnom. What is referring that you will finish your life like a trash. Okay, that's the idea. Okay, like a waste is your life wasted. Okay, so and then we have the resurrection. Okay, the resurrections is not a physical body. Okay, our body is already went to the soil, and there is no more physical body. Okay, so what will resurrect? Okay, your soul. Okay, which means you will still alive. Okay, for that reason, if you remember when Yeshua was questioned about a rabbi, okay, you have one wife, a man have 4 wives or 3 wives. When he goes to the heaven, okay, if we can translate in like that, to whom he will marry. And Yeshua answered, nobody will get married at the heaven. So why? Because there is no physical body.
No marriage.
That's
What about the parable that he spoke about where the poor man was sitting at the gate of the rich man, and every day he would walk by and the rich man wouldn't give him anything. And then at the end, when after the rich man died, he sees the poor man also, and he says, please just send somebody back to tell them that, that parable. And he said, there is no way for a soul to come back, and you can't go to where he is. So there seems to be a separation between the souls.
not really. For me is okay. The first thing is we are soul and body. Okay, we are not soul, body, and spirit. Okay, this is Christianity. Okay, so because Christianity says, okay, that your soul goes to God, your spirit is the one that goes to hell or goes to, and that is not possible. Okay, there is two. Okay, then Yeshua, if the first thing I would like to ask, if he says that, okay,
Right.
because 100 years a person could understand. Okay, I think Baruch wants to talk.
No, he's speaking to somebody at the door.
Okay, then you find to this portion is a parable, which means it's not true. It's just it's a technique to persons to be taught.
Yeah,
It's like, for example,
a mashal.
yeah, it's a mashal. So you what is written in the mashal is not the whole things that you are saying is true.
Just to give a lesson, like a moral.
He wants to give a moral lesson. So, for example, if you read Aesop, right? The fox and all these
Aesop's
things.
fables. Aesop's
Yeah.
fables. Yes.
For example, or you read a story that's implied that is all true. For example, Pinocchio.
Pinocchio, exactly.
What is the message? Don't lie.
Don't lie.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Because if not, you will have problems
Yeah.
by lying.
Big
Okay.
noise.
But it's not
Can I say
true that.
something?
Yeah. Yes, Martin.
So that point you just made, that it's not ideal. So God's ideal is one thing, but he'll allow things such as divorce or marrying multiple women. There's things that are allowed because of people's, like Israel wanting a king, for example. He allowed it, but it wasn't what he wanted, like it wasn't his ideal. And often we do that to, like this portion, there's lots of examples of that principle where, you know, you can have two wives, but you're going to love one and hate the other. And then but the principles still apply even if you choose to do that, such as the inheritance principles of the firstborn son. What if it's the hated wife is actually the first son? No, you still have to obey the rules, which are giving him a double portion, and, you know, not mutilating the body after it's dead because the sin has been paid for example. So we have, you know, God allows these things sometimes and it doesn't really make sense. Like I always wondered about, like, why would he allow multiple wives and be like okay with that? It makes no sense. Like,
Yeah, you know, for me it's very easy, okay, because God gave us free will, okay. And if you read the text is inviting you not to do so.
right.
Okay,
it's an
because
example. So this is what's going to happen if you walk this way. You still have to obey me.
Yeah.
But there's perpetual repercussions for your actions that go generation to generation, and you get to make that choice because we have free will.
But you're also dealing with a different time frame. Women at that time, they had many more women that were born, more boys were dying, and women couldn't work. Women needed to be at home. They couldn't take care of themselves. So it was better for the women to have a covering. So at that time, but today is a totally different story.
Yeah, but the principle is, okay, that the Torah tries that the man doesn't have a lot of women, okay,
Or horses.
or horses and things like that, because, you know, for that reason at the Torah you can read and see all the problems that were originated by bad decisions, okay?
Exactly.
For example, Abraham, for example, Jacob, okay, David, Shlomo. So there are a lot of teachings, okay, that tells you not to do that, okay? And also we need to understand that not everybody had a lot of spouses, okay?
Right.
Because the Torah tells you that you have to give the same things to all, okay?
Right. I couldn't afford it.
So you have to afford, okay, you cannot say, for that reason in this passage tells you, this woman you will dispatch if you don't marry with her, okay, you will dispatch her, okay, but it's really important to see that she will not under like a slave or like a servant for you, because you already humiliated her, okay. So it's really important, because I think in the past, okay, I took this woman and I gotta let it at my home, okay. So the Torah is trying to make to control your impulses, okay. That's what it's teaching you, okay. The problem is the interpretations, okay? Because we can read the Hillel. I don't know if you could read it, Peggy, and you discuss it on Wednesday, but there are many positions about the sages about this matter. Why to divorce to a woman? And how Yeshua make a new interpretation, okay, about this. Okay, the problem is also the men. Okay, so but you know, if you make those bad decisions, okay, okay, you will have to your behavior must be this. Okay, you cannot take out the justice to be righteous, to be fair with both women. So
Yeah, because King Solomon, look what he happened to him with all the wives he had. He ended up taking many foreign wives, and because of that, Rehoboam, his son, lost the kingdom, the kingship. They allowed too much idolatry to come into the land with all the extra wives that he took on.
it's always a problem.
Yeah.
I can see that in many persons, for example, that sometimes I have to relate because of job, and I can see when they have more than his woman, and I can see the problems they already have. For example, they could have my own age and they look older, really
Right.
older.
Yes.
For example, I don't know, probably there's a lot of stress.
There is. Women bring stress. There's no doubt about it. When God said it's not good for man to be alone, I don't know what he was thinking.
One is enough. Okay.
One is often. Here's one. Here's one of my stresses.
Hi, Isaac.
Hi.
Hi. Oh my goodness.
My blonde boys.
Yes.
Welcome back, Rhonda.
Oh, hey, Rhonda.
Thank you.
You had a good time?
Oh yeah, we had a blast. Shashi loved it.
Wow.
Really enjoyed it.
Where'd you go?
We went to Niagara Falls.
Okay. Sweet.
Did you take the what's it called? I forget the name, but when I was a kid, did you take the boat that goes right near the
Oh yeah,
falls?
that was her Shashi's favorite of the
It
whole
was really
trip.
great. I forget what
Yeah.
it's called. The
Made of the
Maiden
Mist.
of the
Maid of
Mist.
the Mist. Maid of the
And then you go behind the falls?
Yeah, we went behind the falls, got wet again.
Good. Well, it was a hot day, so it's
Yeah.
perfect. Great. That's
And
wonderful.
what's
You
LaRonde
were
like?
the Canadian side, eh?
Brian, you unmuted both, Brian. You unmuted yourself on both systems. Why do you need two? We have enough trouble with one wife. Here I have two.
Yes, Brian, we were on the Canadian. We couldn't go to the US. We're not allowed yet.
What was LaRonde like? Were there a lot of people there?
There was a fair amount, yeah.
Was it nice? Were a lot of things open, like the restaurants?
Yeah, they had mostly everything. There are a few things that were closed, but yeah, a lot of things were open.
The food places were open?
Yeah, the food places, yeah, they were open.
Okay.
Great. Well, time flew and we had a wonderful time. Thank you so much for Mauricio for that wonderful message. Matthew, thank you for your input. It's nice to see everybody. I wish you all.
I really invite you to read the portions, okay, that you put at the message, because gives you more ideas. So don't read the point, but read the passages.
Go
Okay?
to the referrals. I'm going to send that out and everybody will be able to. I don't know if I'll send it now because I'm going to the pool.
Sweet. I'm surprised we didn't bring up cross-dressing. because that's one of the verses in
I
here.
saw that. No, women are
and
not
you can't wear pants. No, that's just how they interpret it.
exactly. Yeah. Well,
Women, you
today,
can wear pants. It's okay. It's okay.
today with all the guys in drag, it's definitely
That's not
It's
okay.
whatever, because fashions change all the time. It's not about fashions, whether you wear pants or
It's the
not.
motivation
whether you
behind it.
wear totally
Exactly.
designated to one sex type of clothing. So
Yeah.
you have make a concerted effort to dress as the opposite sex. It's not the items themselves.
Exactly, because if you look at the Vikings or the Scots who wore the kilt, let me tell you, they were rough warriors. They were not very feminine.
Exactly.
So, Mauricio, how's Santi feeling right now? How is he doing?
Right now he
Shabbat
looks better.
shalom, Priscilla.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat
shalom.
shalom.
Hasta
Shabbat
luego.
They are better right now.
They're better?
But probably medicine. So we are checking.
What did you give them?
Okay, right now, just in Spanish, we call acetaminophen.
That's just like aspirin,
Acetaminophen.
acetaminophen. Lo
Yeah,
mismo.
and then also they are taking antigrippals and anti.
Oh, so you think it's just
sorry,
a,
anti-flu. Okay, like
you
that.
think it's just a regular flu or a cold?
Okay, they don't feel, they don't
can't
smell, they
smell.
don't taste. Okay, but my wife took the test and she was negative.
Okay.
But the person says, okay, you have to take another test that we want. Okay, are not reliable, honestly.
It's normal for me. I never smell or taste.
Yeah.
Maybe you've had COVID for 10 years.
Maybe I've had it for 25 years. Well, we pray that they'll get better soon. May it not be any worse. So have a wonderful rest of the day. Go and enjoy the weather while we have it. Pablo, good to see you. Rhonda, welcome home.
Thank you.
Iona, are you there?
Iona, Rudy. Rudy's been busy. And Mina is there.
Hi, Mina.
Hi, Mina.
Hi, Brian. Pablo.
Mina, I'm coming with the car. We're going to take you to the pool.
Hi, Iona.
Okay, Shabbat Shalom. Enjoy the pool.
Shabbat
Okay.
shalom.
Thank you.
Thank
Ciao,
you,
ciao,
Mauricio.
ciao.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Bye.
Bye bye.